much more self-aware than he lets on in public. Look, I get it. It doesn't matter who he is at a private dinner with a comedian. It matters who he is on the world stage. I'm just taking as a positive that this person exists, because everything I've ever not liked about him was, I swear to God, absent, at least on this night with this guy. Bob, Kid Rock, told me the night before, he said, if you want to get a word in edgewise, you're going to have to cut him off. He'll just go on. Not at all. I've had so many conversations with prominent people who are much less connected, people who don't look you in the eye, people who don't really listen because they just want to get to their next thing, people whose response to things you say just doesn't track, like, what? None of that with him. And he mostly steered the conversation to, what do you think about this? I know, your mind is blown, so's mine.
Is one of the most effective politicians, whatever you think of the policy and him as a person, just as a politician.
I have no power, I'm a fucking comedian, and he's the most powerful leader in the world. I'm not the leader of anything, except maybe a contingent of centrist-minded people who think there's got to be a better way of running this country than hating each other every minute. So, meet up in person. Maybe it'll be different. Spoiler alert, it was. A lot of people told me they loved it, but not all. And we agreed. The people who don't even want us to talk, we don't like you. Don't talk, as opposed to what? Writing the same editorial for the millionth time and making 25-hour speeches into the wind? Really, that's what liberals have? He takes the piss out of everybody else and we can hold ours? Okay, that's my report. You can hate me for it, but I'm not a liar.
The moment we've all been waiting for is finally here. Bill Maher's latest video just dropped, and it's sending shockwaves through the political world. In a move no one saw coming, Maher didn't just talk about Donald Trump. He exposed the entire narrative surrounding him and confirmed a jaw-dropping twist. He's now fully backing MAGA. Yes, you heard that right. One of the left's most recognizable voices has flipped the script, and now the woke media machine is scrambling to contain the fallout. They're in full-blown panic mode, desperately trying to bury the story. But it's too late. The truth is out. Watch until the end, because by the time it's over, you just might find yourself joining the MAGA wave too.
Good sign. Before I left for the Capitol, I had my staff collect and print out this list of almost 60 different insulting epithets that the president has said about me. Things like stupid, dummy, lowlife dummy, sleazebag, sick, sad, stone cold crazy. Really a dumb guy, fired like a dog, his show is dead. There's 60. I brought this to the White House because I wanted him to sign it, which he did. Which he did with good humor. And I know as I say that, millions of liberal sphincters just tightened.
What I love most about Trump is that he's been the same guy for over 40 years, straightforward, unapologetic, and consistent. And that's exactly what the woke crowd still doesn't get. They keep acting shocked, as if Trump suddenly became this person. But he hasn't changed. Not really. What's got them boiling now is the wild card. Bill Maher. The fact that he of all people is the one shifting the way so many are starting to view Trump, that's what makes this entire moment so hilarious. Just when you think it couldn't get any crazier, Trump takes Maher on a private tour, jokingly calling one stop the room Hillary Clinton has never delivered. Classic Trump. And if you actually watch Bill Maher's show, you'll see it. This isn't some new act. This is exactly the Trump we've always seen. What late-night TV missed, what destroyed that entire genre, is Trump's sense of humor. That's why Greg Gutfeld is dominating now. He's funny. And Trump, whether you like him or not, gets the bit. He plays it up. He knows how to be entertaining without pretending. I give credit to Maher, and whoever came up with the idea to print out all of Trump's past insults, because that moment of Trump signing them, that's the real Trump. He doesn't hold grudges. He moves on. That's something rare, especially in politics. Just think about it. His own vice president once said he had Hitler tendencies, and Trump still kept him around. That's not weakness. That's a level of personal control you rarely see. And that's the kind of thing the media will never show you. They won't admit it. They won't cover it. But it happened. And it speaks volumes. Trump didn't push, beg, or manipulate Bill Maher. He just was himself. And that alone completely shifted Maher's perspective. That says everything you need to know about the kind of influence Trump still holds. Maher even said it himself. He's talked to Democrats he agrees with politically, and they were cold, dismissive, uninterested. But Trump looked him in the eye, had a real conversation, treated him like a human being. That's what people are craving now, authenticity. And that's why cancel culture is falling apart. The American public is tired of fake. They don't want perfectly polished, focus-grouped politicians. They want real. Trump doesn't pretend to be someone he's not. And whether you love him or hate him, that authenticity is why he connects. It's why he wins people over. It's why Bill Maher walked away from that meeting rethinking everything. And Maher's right. Whatever he didn't like about Trump, it just wasn't there that night. No eggshells. No tension. Just two people having a real exchange. And Maher voted for Hillary Clinton. That's how wild this moment really is. If it didn't hit you the first time, go watch it again. Because this wasn't just a meeting. It was a cultural reset. A moment that revealed how twisted the media narrative has become. Always focused on the worst, never willing to show the full picture. Trump didn't change. We just weren't allowed to see him. Even Bill Maher said Trump is more self-aware than he lets on. When Maher was asked what he'd wear to the White House, he joked, "I don't know, but I'm not dressing like Zelensky." It's those little moments that show you how real this was. And here's the truth the left doesn't want to hear. Character isn't about being on the right or the left. It's about being honest. And the left has traded honesty for headlines. They've been so wrapped up in fake news, they've completely lost touch with reality. There's even a story from author Alyssa Phillips. Classic liberal couple moves upstate, ends up surrounded by Trump voters. At first, they're terrified. But then a snowstorm hits. And guess who comes to dig them out? The Trump guy down the street. No hesitation. No politics. Just real humanity. And slowly, that woman started rejecting the prejudice she'd been fed. Because in the real world, things look a whole lot different than they do on TV. So if you're still on the fence, do yourself a favor. Watch this whole thing. And maybe, just maybe, you'll start to see what Bill Maher saw too. It's become so common in my world, among people in my tribe, that politics start to matter a whole lot less when someone races to your house to help save a dying lamb, or when their wife helps you search for your runaway dogs. My neighbor's generosity has stunned me more than once. And in moments like that, you start to understand something deeper. It's almost like maybe there really are fine people on both sides. That's exactly the energy Bill Maher seemed to feel while he was with Donald J. Trump. You could see it. The shift was real. And honestly, I've never seen Maher's crowd cheer that hard for Trump's character. It was one of those rare, unfiltered moments where you think, maybe, just maybe, we're getting a little bit of the left back. Throughout their dinner, Trump didn't shut down the jokes. He didn't get defensive when challenged. When I hit him with something or contradicted a point, there was no tension, no drama. Instead, he leaned in, curious, engaged. He asked me about nuclear policy in Iran in a genuinely respectful way, like, "Hey, I think you're a smart guy, what do you think?" I told him flat out, I thought the Obama deal with Iran should have been allowed to play out. That it dismantled 98% of their uranium and bought us time. And I reminded him, you got rid of that deal. He didn't flinch. He didn't snap back or label me a left-wing lunatic. He just listened. I told him parts of his Gaza plan were, well, a little wacky. But I also supported his idea that Gaza could be Dubai instead of hell. I pushed back when he tweeted that I've always been critical of him, because that's just not true. Check the tapes. I praised his decision to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. I've backed him on border control. I've said cops needed their morale back. I've agreed DEI went too far. I've spoken out against biological men in women's sports. I've said Europe should pay its own defense bills. And of course, Arab countries should be taking in Arab refugees, not just dumping them on the West. When I pointed out Saudi Arabia took in 0 Syrians, Trump just nodded and said, "You're right, they took none." I joked, "You should remind your boyfriend in Saudi Arabia next time you see him." And that's the thing about Bill Maher, he's the kind of person who still says what he actually believes, even if it goes against the narrative. And for that, the woke mob is now trying to cancel him.
Why?
Because he's not playing by their script anymore. They're stuck, one-sided, locked into wild takes on Trump that don't match reality. I told Trump straight up, I never felt I could talk to Clinton or Obama the way I talked to him. And that's not because I agreed with everything he said. It's because I never had to walk on eggshells. That alone says everything about how far politics has drifted from real conversation. He even brought up that old orangutan joke I made. He told Dana White, "Bill said my father was an orangutan. I really loved my father." And I responded, "Mr. President, I only did that because I didn't like what you were doing with Obama's birth certificate. It felt low." And again, no anger, just a little smile, almost like he understood. And here's the surreal part. I flew home right after the dinner. I'm in bed, watching 60 Minutes, and there's Trump on screen, at a podium in what looked like the exact same room we'd just been in. He's shouting, "You're a terrible person." And I'm sitting there thinking, wait, who is that guy? What happened to the guy I just had dinner with? It was like watching Glinda the Good, which turned into a hurricane. But this video, this moment, it stays here as proof of who Donald Trump can be, of what a patriotic president looks like behind the curtain. Huge credit to Bill Maher for showing us this side, for having the courage to break the narrative. And before anyone accuses me of being bought off, Trump gave me nothing. Just a few hats, a generous amount of time, and a willingness to treat me like a possible friend, even though I'm not MAGA. And that, believe it or not, was the entire point of the dinner. My favorite part? We were standing together and Trump said, "You know, I've heard from a lot of people who really liked that we're having this dinner. Not all, but a lot." And I said, same. A lot of people told me they loved it. Not all. And we both agreed. The people who don't even want us to talk? We don't respect that. Because real progress starts with conversations, not with writing the same editorial a million times or giving another 25-minute speech into the void. Liberals used to be the side that could take a joke.
And now?
We've forgotten how. Trump still takes the piss out of everyone else, and at least he can laugh. That's the difference. Thanks for watching. And if you appreciate honesty and real conversation, hit that like button and subscribe.